So I'm going to skip the intro because starting in 2022, like the first second of 2022, like nearly none of my new videos could be monetized. Whereas most of them, even if I don't curse, I'm trying different stuff. So we're not going to do the intro. Oh, let me get to the request. Obviously, you can hear the notes that I took. Where did it go? Guide to raising something in the decline. And I did it as if I'd have daughters too, children in general, because I would obviously train a boy and a girl differently because they're two different people. But let me go through this. El Cappy Tan Cappy. Hello, my name is Bose. I have finally come up with the perfect consultation request future book idea for you. I hope. Yes, it's both. Your range. Well, I'm not writing a book on how to raise children. I won't lie. It ain't that hard. Have someone at home. Okay. Have a parent raise the children and spank and discipline. There's more to it than that, but that right there. I just love how ever since the 60s, we thought we knew better than like 2 million years of human evolution. It's not that hard. People who have children think I'm like, you don't even have children. You're right. You don't have children either. You have spawn because you don't love your children. You don't raise them. You ship them out to daycare. You don't spend time investing in them. You guys got divorced. You weren't even married. Don't lecture me about me not having, children, so I don't know. Cripes, I love your children. They're not even mine more than you love them. And that's not saying much because you don't love your children at all. But I digress. So it wouldn't really be a long book. This is it. I only got one page of notes. Your range of topics mainly covers the ins and outs of becoming a man from roughly the age of 15 years and upwards, but have you ever considered what requirements or guidance would be for the raising of a son to the age of roughly 15 to 18 years old? Here, I'll answer it. You want the answer? So they can support themselves and not need you anymore. Boom! Look at that, huh? Wow. Self-supportation. Hey, you boomer and Gen X parents really kicked a lot of, because all your kids are living at home, right? You got to really prepare those kids for the real world, right? Right. Again, not having any children, I'm better than 90% of you American parents at being a parent. I know you don't have any of your own, and neither do I. However, I think you seem qualified to quantify the best path for raising a son. I'd say daughters too, to excel in this crazy world, if even possible. I think your immediate answer is to not have children since it's too uneconomical in this day and age. It's too risky, i.e. Book of Numbers, enjoy the decline. But as we both know, that won't stop men from doing so, yearning to do so in the future, regardless of the cost. Don't forget, oops. So the conditions I would request be considered is that this fictitious father has the red pill understanding of your ethos and the prerequisite of having not already destroyed his life by other means already. You assume a lot, sir. The question is for an economical breakdown of what is required to raise a child correctly or efficiently to bear the best opportunities. You know what? I'm going to take a little note. Oh, I didn't. Oh, darn it. Hang on. Let me type down a note. I'll have to do this in addition to what I had before. All right. There we go. Okay, I added that. A little pre-qualification there. I still wanted to use a picture of Fred McMurray and my three sons. And I wanted to use a picture of Calvin's dad, but it was all comic booky. All right, I'll go with Andy Griffith. Because I don't know if you noticed this. In the movies and the TV shows, the father would sit down and have a conversation with the children. Ward would talk to it. This is why that's wrong. Here, they would teach them morality and ethics and principles. So if Ward and June were gone, the kids could make the right choice. Just throw money at it. I don't know why he's acting that way. The adults that interact with the teachers and the daycare providers, they just said he's weird. I don't know. I'm busy. I have a career. I don't know why he's depressed. not having destroyed his life by other means already. The request is for an economical breakdown of what is required to raise a child correctly or efficiently to bear the best opportunities for that child. Is this even an achievable goal? Yes, it is. You prepare it. It's very simple. You prepare your child for the real world. You give him or her the tools necessary to not only succeed, but thrive in the real world. And it's not all about making money. It's so that the value of their hour of their labor yields a lot of money so they have an easier life and then can maybe raise a stable family on their own. But it is also teaching them that the most important thing in life is other people. What is life about? So they're not wasting it, pissing away their money, or as modern day Americans do, borrow other people's money to piss it away on stupid things. Man, you go through the fanciest suburbs, go through the nicest places where the nicest cars and the nicest houses are all borrowed by America's most coolest looking people. And you go see how happy they are. And then you'll say, oh, American Beauty was a documentary 20 years ago. So it is achievable. You have to turn off the TV. You have to not listen to the robots. You have to say what's important in life. And you have to not be duped into thinking that things are value. I don't know, but I'm curious on your take and willing to pay you for your time. For reference, I have read your books in this order: the Book of Numbers, Enjoy the Decline. That's an interesting sequence. And still yet to finish Bachelor Pad Economics. Again, guys, Bachelor Pad Economics, that is a reference book. You don't read it front to cover. How old am I? And you read what chapters are germane to you. I have enjoyed all three greatly and applaud your assessments in all three. Get Poor Richard's retirement. That would be more germane to this video request. So this is my first time request. I guess I'm making this a video discussion would be the best option. Yeah, I think it'll be your Air Force agent in the field, Bose. That's not his real name. So he did get a discount. So, all right. So I took my notes. Went down to the coffee store and took my notes. Now, these are in no particular order. All right. Well, okay. Maybe I should. Let's just talk about our general goals, and I'll go through the individual things, what that would translate into, how I would parent. The main goal would to make it so that they do not dwell. I'm not saying don't experience. I'm not saying don't suffer. I want my kids to suffer. Hang on. That's another thing. Someone's going to take that out. Okay. There's another one. Because I don't think you can learn unless there's pain. You need to have a price. And man, my God, you say, look who's president. Look who was president before. Look who was president before that. Look who was president before that. All your problems you got with politicians, they all come from rich families. And all these people work the damn day in their life. All right? And then you run into trust fund kids and spoiled kids. Most of the problems we got today is because everyone was put on easy mode, either through government money, parent money, or debt, or real, or cash. You need to suffer. Okay? And the reason that's important is so you know what is valuable in life. Because if you don't suffer, you don't know what is valuable. You don't know the value of a dollar. You don't have to strive. You don't have to work. You don't know what the value of freedom is. You don't know what the value of a dollar is. You don't know what the value of a good conversation or a good quality person you could trust is. So the overall goals would be to have them endure some pain, some poverty, some strife. So they have to work, right? So that when they get to the higher levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they're appreciative and they don't just take that for granted and then expect everyone else work more so I don't have to work for a living. Damn well near 80% of American people right now. So that'd be the first thing, is to get them to be self-supporting, and not just self-supporting, but excelling as much as their intellects and their natural human capacities would allow them to be. Because, what if I have a dumb kid? He ain't going to be a nuclear physicist. All right, well, maybe he's a tradesman. Maybe he's he'd be smarter than that. I mean, come on. Anyone's smarter than a tradesman. Let's be real. My son will know how to tell time and show up on time and not be drunk. Anyway, so to get them so they could support themselves, earning the highest dollar amount per hour, so it frees up, freedom would be a main goal, so that they would be able to go live and enjoy life. They're not stuck at the office. They're not paying student loan debts. They're not borrowing money to pay a McMansion and a McRange Rover so they can impress Tina, her suburbanite rival at the hair salon place. All right? That's what that would be. So here you are equipped and you've earned this and you know what real work takes, so you'll never go back. The second thing would be to instill in them my very simple principle that humans are the most important thing in life. And that is how they should live life, yet not at the risk of lowering the standards to have any old person in there, which is a huge crisis, as which the main problem young men, I'd argue women, face today. So those are the overarching goals. They suffer and they know what it takes to support oneself, how society has to continue on. They are skilled and trained, earning their own money and producing something of value for society. And they're not going to be teachers. They're not going to be guidance counselors. They're not going to be politicians, and they're not going to be activists. They will actually produce something of value in the world that people willingly give them money. Then they will know that the number one thing in life is not things or stuff or McMansions and McSuburbs and McRange Rovers. All right. They know it is the friendship and love of other people. And then I would also instill like, oh, by the way, you're going to die, so make it count. And those would be the overarching goals. That's it. And pretty much 9 out of 10 you American parents don't even do one of those 4 things. You just spit out the kid, ship it off to daycare. Yay, check mark, have kid. Ooh, I'm a parent. Genetics passed on, next generation. So here we go. So now how would that translate? Again, in no order. All right. First, I would make sure both, this applies to boys and girls. I might have different advice down the road here, but for both a boy and a girl, I would insist that they maintain their physique. Now, that doesn't mean they have, what they're got an ugly face. Well, then we can't. But they are going to stay in shape, not just for health reasons, but also because being in shape is going to give you more opportunities and make your life a lot easier. And it's probably one of the first things you could teach them. Although if they're right, I'm going to have them outside. There ain't no TV. Get outside and play. Oh, you want to go to Jimmy's house and it's 8 miles away? Hey, remember that bike I bought you? Go bike to Jimmy's house. Right? So I'm going to teach them the value of being physically attractive. Young boys going to the gym, young girls also going to gym, staying in pretty in physique. I'm not going to lie to my daughter and say, oh, yeah, you're great the way you are. I'm not going to lie to my son. Girls are going to like you for you. I'm like, you 2 idiot moron kids are absolutely nothing. Maybe you play your video games a little bit and then you poop and fart and then you eat more food. That's what you do. You guys ain't got nothing right now. You must build into something. But one of the key things, especially for the opposite sex, is you must be attractive. And if they want to fall in love, by God, they're not going to be doing this big is beautiful. She should like me for me. No one likes you for you. Nobody. I don't even like me for me. Got to earn it every morning. Like, oh, you disgusting piece of crap, Cappy. What did you do? You slept in till 10, you sloth. Gosh, I haven't slept in until 10 in a long time. So that's number one. Not importance, but number one, they insist they be physically attractive or in shape. I would instill in them other people are the most important thing in life. All right. I'd say, like, okay, go play your video games by yourself. You can't play online. Why not? It's more fun with people. Oh, what did we learn? Yeah, you can play that game by yourself. Now, I wouldn't deprive them of social interaction with other people, but I would probably do something like, okay, we're going to do something, right? We're doing a Christmas where you're both by yourself. Now, when they're super young, but maybe 10 or 11, where they're a little bit old enough, I say, nope, you're going to be in a hotel by yourself. You're going to be in a hotel by yourself. And you're going to have Christmas by yourself. And it wouldn't be because, and we get them at the end of the day. I'm like, you sit there, you can't leave the room. And I'm not punishing you. This is to teach you an important lesson. Okay, this is why I wait till about 10 or 11 or 12. I said, what'd you learn? I was bored. Really? So you can't play with your buddies online. You can't interact with people. Fine, you got your toys and all that, but you couldn't. So what's most important in life? That's right, other human beings. So that's how I teach them that. Another thing is I would exhaust I can't even read my own handwriting. Okay, I would exhaust novelty. And I tried to do that pretty early on and somewhat frequently. Maybe, like, of course, let them be toddlers and kids, but again, like 9, 10 years old, I'm like, all right, let me show you kids something. I get a whole big thing of chocolate ice cream, and I'm like, all right, you can have as much as you want. I'd be like, great. And then they start getting sick. I'd say, are you done? You're like, yeah, I'm full. All right, what'd you learn? I thought chocolate ice cream was your favorite thing. Like, yeah, but I've had too much of it. I'm getting sick. I'm like, right. I don't care how good it is. Everything will lose its value. I would absolutely instill the value of, and the concept of novelty so that they know that their video games aren't important, that all these material things, even if you got a Ferrari, you will get sick of it. Once again, reinforcing the lesson that what's the most important thing in the world? Humans. Why? Because they're infinite in their ability to think and create and behave. So I would definitely, and then that would also hopefully destroy any desire or certainly undermine any desire they have for materialism. But Becky has the coolest, latest Lululemon things. Well, good for Becky. Okay, what if you got, I might like, okay, here's your Lululemons. I'm like, no. I thought you wanted that. Isn't that what you wanted more than the Lululemon pants or your little hand, your Barbie purse handbag? Heck, I'd even save all the kids' toys. I say, all right, why don't you play with those toys anymore? Why are you gonna? Right, you're sick of it. So what do you think's going to happen when you want to buy all these toys and all this crap? Right, you're going to get sick of it. Right, so you could save a lot of money going and hanging out with your, like, okay, you went and biked to Bobby's house and you hung out with Bobby for the afternoon. Maybe you played basketball or whatever. Right? Did you have any new things? Did you have any stuff? No, you hung out with Bobby. It was more important that you hung out with Bobby than it was the actual things that maybe Bobby had. And so I'd be pointing. See, I know this is a foreign concept to you American parents because you really don't love your children. I would try to explain things to them so we prepare them for the adult world. Very important lessons about value, economics, familial, brotherly love, also romantic love. We'll get to that later. All right. So that they know, they understand what life is about. But I know that's you guys are too busy with your student loan debts for your MBA. I teach them both how to fight. And if I back them up. Like if any crap was happening at school, I'd be like, I guess you got to punch out Bobby. Oh, Bobby got punched out? When you care, I'm like, oh, did Bobby start it? He did? All right. I don't care what the principal would do. But like, I go right to the principal. I'm like, you got that video camera? Oh, Bobby did start. Now, this assumes my son or daughter was in the right. If not, I'd yell at him. Probably spank him too. But yeah, if any, I would not have them suffer like being the nerd or getting teased or bullied in school. I'm like, you punch that kid right square in the face, hard as you can. Maybe not in high school because he could actually cause damage, but like that'd be nip it in the bud early. A second or third grader throwing a right hook ain't gonna really hurt much of anything. And then I'm like, oh, is Bobby picking on you anymore? He isn't? And I just back. And I would do that with the kid in front of me. Like the kid would be there with the principal. And I'm like, let's fill up the data. Okay, Bobby started it. And my son punched him. So what's wrong? I'm like, no, my son did everything right. You're wrong. You're an idiot. You're a moron. All right. Bobby's going to come here to school. I'm not Bobby. My son, whatever my son's name would be. Frank. Say, Frank is going to come to school. Anybody picks on him, starts anything with him, he has my express permission to beat the ever-living crap out of him. And we're going to have this conversation again, and I will not punish my son. And I'd actually back him up. Now, I know that's new for you boomer parents, like when your kids were getting picked on in school and they actually stood up to themselves and then everyone got in trouble. You didn't. I understand it's different, but yeah. I teach them how to fire and clean guns. Oh, here's it. This is probably one of the most important things. I would invest time with my children explaining why things are right or wrong or how they work. I don't think I would ever say because I told you so. And here is where I really like Stefan Molyneux, how he's raised his daughter, of course, with that IQ, pool between him and his wife. The kid, obviously, there's a chance the kid would have come out dumb, but the kid didn't come out done. But if you look at what Molyneux does, again, foreign concept for you American parents, they invest the time to explain why you do and do not do things, why things work. I have a former buddy who actually did a great job raising his daughter. And the reason why is he sat her down. And if you did something wrong, he didn't just spank her and then leave because I told you so. Little kids, they understand action and consequences. You're not going to be using huge language. But you explain to them why it's wrong. You make them repeat back. You make them say, all right, explain that to me again. How does that work? Like I got Lucifer and Geronimo. It's a very simple thing. God, there were 3 and 5, maybe little ones. And before we go to the park or go out, they're excited. I say, all right, where are we going? Now, I taught the older one the concept of public because she'd cry or make noise. I say, hey. And this is a 40-year-old child. I said, if you're crying, can other people hear you? Yeah. Do you think they want to hear you? These people come here for dinner or the park or whatever. They don't want to hear you crying. You're being rude. We are in public. I explained the concept of public. And what we do in public is we behave. I said, the reason we behave is because we are not the only people in public. There are other people around, and our behavior has an effect on them. And it was something as simple as that. And you know what? By gum, Lucifer got it. Now then Geronimo comes along, and she kind of pays attention to her older sister. And I'd always say, all right, where are we going? Because they're acting up already. Hey, where are we going? We're going in public. And Geronimo's like, what's public? She just said public. I'm like, okay, who's in public? Other people. And what do we do in public? We behave. Got them both on that, 3 and 5 years old. And you know what they do when we go out in public? They behave. Why? Because they know. I know American parents don't understand this because it's an advanced concept that a 3 and 5-year-old can get, but most American parents don't. They recognize that, there's other people here, and we shouldn't bother them. Unlike American parents who bring their pooping, farting, screaming, urinating kids into a dining establishment. And they don't understand. They don't even understand the concept of public. But that's all right. You're American parents. I know you guys are worthless. So I would say that was the important thing. Like, you got to explain it to them. So if they're in a situation by themselves, they can figure out, I shouldn't do that because whatever reason. That's treating somebody poorly. I'm disrespecting other people. It's bad for me. I'm lying, and that misleads allocation of resources, and people spend way more time, and then people get hurt. Why do we put the dishes away? So it doesn't get dirty, so there aren't mice. You just do. But most parents are just like, because I said so. Put your dishes away. Why? Little kid doesn't understand why. So it is that. So you got to get it so they understand. Okay. Mandate they master their finances. Obviously, that would be a little bit more in the future. We could do the allowance thing. I'd make them do little odd jobs to get to the jobs later. But I make sure that by the time they left, they know what a 401k is. They know how much they need to retire. They know where the online calculators are for retirement planning. They know to spend less than they make. I'd have them be minimalists, which again is a overarching goal. I'd absolutely have them pay their own way. I don't care if I made $1 billion. But that's what I would do. Let me get to, I forgot, I got ahead. All right. So even before this is even before, first I make sure I have the money to raise the children. Not that I'm relying on a government credit or a tax handout because I'm not a parasite. And by the way, if you need government money to raise your children, you shouldn't have them because you're too stupid and too poor that you should not bring more children into poverty. But hey, it's more important you have that checkbox than actually help raise a good child and give that child a living, right? Nah, you get it. Here's another one, guys. Make sure you have a good spouse, wife or husband. I would choose a good woman to have children with. Are you going to stay at first question? It doesn't even have to be, you guys know my policy. On a date, Miss Perfect comes along. Oh, she's a redhead with tiggle bitties, and she has her master's degree in nuclear engineering, and she likes hiking on motorcycles and shooting guns. And okay, and she loves lingerie and just can't wait, and she just loves cooking in that lingerie. And she loves guys whose names start with 2 vowels, preferably the first letter in the alphabet. Like, this is the girl for me. And I'd ask her, like, do you want to have kids? And she'd say yes. And let's just theoretically assume that I want to have kids, which I don't, but let's just say I did. I'd say, like, do you believe that a parent should stay home and take care of the kids? And if she says, oh, no, we both need to work, gone, don't care, gone. All right. I would make sure that my spouse wanted to raise children, not have children, raise them, which again, 90% of you American parents don't do. And then another thing, before all this, I don't care if I had billions of dollars. I'd fake being poor. I'd act like we didn't have money. I'd like to have them scared. Oh, I don't know if we're going to make it this year. I want them to suffer. I want them to know what it's like to be poor. Like, I even might like deprive them of a meal or something like, yeah, money didn't come in. We can't eat today. Now, I'd make sure they were fully nourished the rest, but there'd be a day or two like, yeah, money didn't come in. Because I won't lie. Yeah, money didn't come in. You kids are going to have to go without food. And then what I would do, I'd go out and get some food. I would. And I'd eat it. I'd guilt-free. Like, teach those kids some lessons, real important lessons. I would. I'm not a saint. So they didn't have any expectation because, like, I've seen it, like, with trust fund kids, like, you don't get the money until you're 30. Well, they just slough it off until they're 30. I want them thinking like we're this close from the poorhouse. And so, I'm not flooding with gifts or money or attention. Well, with attention, I would. With money or gifts, though. So that's another thing that I would do there. All right. Those would be the pre-marriage spitting forth children. Oh, by the way, I'd make sure there's a nuclear family. I know that you American parents aren't into that nuclear family thing because you don't need a mother and a father. So yeah, I'd make sure they have their finances together. They understand budgeting, worthless degrees, non-worthless degrees, all that. I teach them minimalism by kind of like, I don't know, sitting down and explaining, are you bored with your toy? All right. Well, how bored are you going to get with your video game? All right. Are you happiest when Grandpa Aaron shows? Oh, you're happiest when other people. Are you happy when Auntie Filberta shows up? Are you happy when your family and your cousins show? Oh, you are? I wonder why you're happier. Oh, is it other people that makes you happy? It is? Well, then you don't need stuff. So they, hopefully they would not be so stupid. No, there wouldn't be hope. I would make sure they're not so stupid as to want rims on their car or fancy stuff. Homeschooling all the way. I would stay home if I have to homeschool those kids. And I would try to get them to have the equivalent of have a bachelor's degree or trade by the age of 16. I would want, they would not go to the concentration prison called public schools. They wouldn't go to private schools either. You're not going to be like homeschool, boom, 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 boom. And I get them up and running. I'm like, you're going to have a trade by 16 or a degree in accounting by 16, one of the two. And they'd be off. They'd be off to the races. I would also teach them entrepreneurship. Now, this I can't force on them, and it's also up to them, but I would teach them like, okay, here's how entrepreneurship works. Your employer has to do the same job and go get drum up business. You think like, ooh, I don't want to drum up business. That's so risky. Well, you outsource that risk to your employer. Your employer faces the same risk. And since you're dependent upon your employer, you are effectively facing that same risk. So why don't you bypass your employer, charge an extra 25, 30, 40% more and get paid all that money? So I would kind of channel them in, like, I would not pay for any kind of education, period. But I'd be like, no, you're not. I would do what I could to prevent. Like, you're not majoring in sociology, you're not majoring in journalism. Get a real job. But I would say also on top of that, like, look, here's how the real world works, and you can make more money and not answer to a boss and be truly free and work from home and all these other benefits if you get self-employed. And so naturally, I would like kind of lean towards, maybe being a dentist or a doctor, but also like, you can work remotely, get some skills, programming, and that I think would speak to your concerns about, well, how would you raise a son? I've raised my son to be mobile, raised my daughter to be mobile, so they could get out of here when all the other American parents, we need more of their money because I have to work to pay taxes for other people to raise my children because they're too busy working, raising other people's children to pay the taxes. You over there, hardworking people, give us more of your money. I majored in English. I want to have children, but I can't afford the in vitro fertilization because I waited till I was 42. All of you pay me more money. I'm like, here you go, son. Get out of here. Hey, Dad, I found this place called Panama. It's got nice beaches. All right, good for you. Yeah, there's 2 girls down here. Do you speak Spanish? Not yet. All right. Then I'd have the spank once or outlast them once. See, I've seen it. Oh, millennial parents are so cute. We don't do that. Don't do that. We don't. That's not how we do it. No, we don't. We don't do it. And this is talking to a 3-year-old. Negotiating ethics with a 3-year-old. I would spank, and I'd spank once. Right? Not when they're infants, obviously not. But if they did something wrong, I'd be on it like that. And the reason why is you get 2 choices. Now, this is where Molyneux would disagree with me, and I disagree with Molyneux. I think he just got lucky with the kid. And I know he invested a lot of time in the kid. I got it. He got lucky. Because I've seen kids that never get disciplined. Oh, they run the roost. And more importantly, if you never discipline your kid early, you then go into 18 years of negotiating with your child. Whereas I know one parent who spanked her kid once. That kid never screwed up again. That kid became a phenomenal kid, well, now adult. And I was like, wow. And respected parents, respected elders, well-behaved, a very nice young lady now. It's because she got spanked early and once. Kid never did it again. I do the same thing. Once that kid understood English, once they could understand, as far as I could say, you disobeyed me, you did that wrong, bam, spank. Now, little potch, it would sting. Oh, I know. Your kids still live at home at 32, don't they? All right, let me know how that goes. All right. But I'm not the one negotiating with my kid to whatever, put his toys away. I'm not the one negotiating with a 7-year-old to do their homework. It'll be like, hey, we had this conversation before, right? Are you disobeying my orders? No, that's what I thought. So you guys have fun negotiating with your kids and have them live with you till they're 35, and then they move out, but they didn't really move out because you're still helping them with rent until they're 45. Yeah, you're great parents. You're great American. Brave, amazing parents. You didn't spank your children, but they still need your money. And so that'd be it. That's, and I've seen it where it's like, okay, there was one time. That was it. Kid remembers. Maybe you have to do it twice. But that would be it. Because I'm not negotiating with a little child. I'd have them do reconnaissance, both domestic and overseas, in part to find out where they want to live. But then also I'd say keep an eye out for a spouse if you want to get married and have kids. Because I don't want kids. I wouldn't force that decision. They have their own life. They'd be a very libertarian father. But I'm like, yeah, you might find someone here. It's possible, but yeah, man, go overseas, see where you want to travel. I'd teach them kind of like Andrew Hendrickson. Like, I'd be very curious how Andrew Hendrickson is teaching his kids, if he has any. I don't think he has any yet, or maybe ever will. But I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to teach you to be a digital nomad. You're going to get used to traveling internationally, and you're going to maybe learn a language or find a place early on where you'd like to live. And I'd impart my sovereign risk analysis skills. Like, well, yeah, that country's good now, but the country's only 2 million people, and once the UN transplants a bunch of refugees there, it's going to go to pot. So maybe not learn that obscure language that no one else knows. Russia looks pretty good. But I get them very familiar with not just international travel to be a tourist, but getting used to it, conducting reconnaissance, figuring out where they want to live, and then also like, oh, did you go to a traditionally masculine country? Did you find a guy that you like and he works hard and do? All right, yeah. Oh, did you go to a traditional country and you found a demure woman that wants to support you and help you out and not argue and antagonize? Okay, bring her over for Christmas. See how she is. All right. But I would just to expand their horizons in other ways beyond these United States shores. I would make them work starting at about 8. They can start collecting cans. I'm not a fan of chores. I guess I would do chores and allowances, so we do that. 10, they're starting to shovel driveways and rake yards. 12, 13, we're looking at babysitting, though. Hey, for all the American parents, like if you need a babysitter for your 32-year-old that still lives at home, my 12-year-old could maybe babysit your 33-year-old. Because I know they got the depressions and the anxieties. And oh no, I don't know. We left a can of gasoline in the house. What we'll have? My 12-year-old kid will take care of it. Don't worry. And then 14, maybe even a little bit earlier, I'd start having them start. This is where the entrepreneurship would come in. I'm like, all right, teaching you online. Of course, by their age, you probably know everything online. I'm like, here's a payment processing. Here's your bank accounts. This is how you train. This is where I would learn, pass on what I learned from doing my online thing here. And I'd say, okay, now you can program, offer accounting, use the internet. Internet will set you free. You don't answer to a boss. You don't answer to a gray hair like me. You go and you start, you hustle. What else? No tablets or smartphones until 16. No social media till 16. I don't want to say no TV. I mean, I would have a TV and maybe we watch movies, or like the Andy Griffith Show, or some class, Hogan's Heroes or something like that. We'd watch good stuff. But no, we're not watching Adventure Time. We're not watching the crap that's coming up on Nickelodeon. We're not watching cable. Bugs Bunny, Tropic Thunder, Die Hard, Kelly's Heroes, Force 10 from Navarone, Tom and Jerry, Knight Rider, maybe. That's what would be on TV, but I wouldn't have them watch anything modern. What else? Oh, starting at 16 with driver's license, they drive around to my satisfaction. I'm like, okay, drive across the country, drive there and back. What? Drive there and back. Well, where do I stay? That's your problem. Figure it out. The daughter, a lot of people would disagree with that. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'd have to have my son go with her. But I want them to know independence. I want them to be able to navigate. I want them to get out and back so they're not afraid of what's out there. Way too many kids don't leave their home or their town, especially you East Coasters, though I understand traffic is so bad. Like, whoa, to make it to New Jersey takes 3 hours from New York City. Don't tell me it doesn't. I know it doesn't. Don't email me. Actually, like, take a good track. Shut up. But I want them out exploring. And then I would also instill in them stoicism. I would teach them early to identify what they do and do not control so they do not get frustrated or angry or waste their time. That'll include arguing with friends, immediately assessing whether somebody's being intellectually honest, whether you're capable of negotiating with them or getting them to see your side. Otherwise, just like, oh, okay, fine. That'd be about it. That's it. I think that's it. That's how Cappy would raise his kids. And then, I'm no parent, but I guarantee you my kids will come out better than 99% of the American kids today. Because I would invest time in them. That would be the difference. There would be somebody home taking care of the kids. And if I wasn't taking home at home taking care, I was the one out working, I'd come home. And you know what we do? We'd do homework. We'd sit and discuss. How was your day? What did you think about that? I would invest in my children. I wouldn't merely be a sperm donor and an incubator, which is the majority of American parents today. Geez, I wonder if my children would have a case of the ahid, or maybe they'd be loved and taken care of and prepared and knowledgeable with goals and aims in the world. So they wouldn't be like, oh, I want to know, I'm playing video games. But don't worry, you guys got a nicer SUV than me. That's right. I just took my son fishing, but you got it, and your son has the latest Xbox 1020. Yeah. And you dropped him off in front of that, and then you went off and watched your sports ball. Ooh, good for you. All right. See if we got any super chats. Let's go through the super chats. Let's go through the super chats and have ourselves a treat. Nothing to see here. Yeah, tune in. Based homeschool mom, tune into her. Her and her husband actually do the homeschool thing. They have children, and they have like farming and home garden and all that kind of stuff. Carapagoon-cabulous, $10. Cappy's kids leave the house saying, "Screw you, Dad. You ruined my childhood," with a secretly deposited down payment on a house and a $30,000 investment. Well, see, and that was the thing with the money. I wouldn't tell them until they were at least 35. Oh, yeah, by the way, I lied about us being poor. I owned the house that I claimed we were renting. That one time I told you ran out of food. Yeah, I went down to the steakhouse, had a great dinner. It was awesome. And and now that you're all squared away, and I know you're not dependent kids, you haven't asked me for money since the age of 18. Here's your $150,000 for a down payment. Here's your $150,000 for a down payment. Go get yourself a house or whatever it is that you wanted to do. And then they'd hug. You know what my children would do? They'd willingly come back home and give me a hug. I've always said, y'all trying to be their friends when they're 13. You want them to come back and respect you and willingly so and love you as a dad or a mom when they're 30. You're not playing for them at 13. You're playing for them at 30. Oh, dude. Now, I never want to be a dad. Never. Boy, could I be a grandpa. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Woo. Boy, Daddy Warbucks Cap, I would go to town with a bunch of little rats. Oh, my gosh. I had grandkids. Boy, ooh. We're going to go ride in the truck. We're going to go fish. We're going to go to the bar and get Miller time. We're going to go, oh boy. Man, if I had grandkids, that would, I know I'm not, but boy, I could deal with some grandkids. That would be awesome. The Black Blur, $10. Cappy's kids would be so smart. We don't know that. I mean, it always regresses to the mean. You don't know that they're going to be smart. They would be so smart that he or she would graduate with their bachelor's at 20 in communications with emphasis in speech language. No, they would not. No, they would not. I mean, they could, but I would be I would wait. I'd wait until they get back on their feet. I'm like, no, you're not getting it. They wouldn't know I have money, so they wouldn't even come ask me. And then, like, by the time both were 35, I give, whatever the daughter, she's in engineering, and I'm like, here's your $150,000. And the son who majored in speech pathology and is making Muppets in New York City, I'm like, no, you don't get anything. Whoa, I told you not to do that. You've proven yourself not responsible with money. I hate you, Dad. Pink Rider, 25 Polish Lotties. How to tell my girlfriend that I don't want to have kids. You say, I don't want to have kids. Oh, you lack the pair of balls to do that. Oh, I don't know how you do it then. But in my day, it was I don't want to have children. That's that you would use. Now maybe you'd say that in Polish, because if she's Polish, that means she's fluent in Polish and she would understand that. But if she doesn't speak English, you don't say I don't want to have kids. You'd have to translate that into Polish. So if that's your question, you would speak to her in the native. That's what that language there translated into Polish. You tell her that. Guys, it's okay to tell women no. Do you want to do no? Why not? Because I don't want to. Sam Whiskey, $10. Cappy's kids would go dumpster diving for soda cans like I did at age 10. I beat you by 3 years. I did that in Michigan because we got 10 cents a can. If you got the big one, you got 20 cents. That was real money in 1982. 83. I would be 8. Never mind, I was 8. It's entrepreneurship 101. Yep. Sam Whiskey, $5. Cappy's kids would be taller than him. Probably. I'd starve them at first when they were young, but if they ever needed like food, and they were working hard, I'd give it to them. DJ Aftershock, $5. I've always wondered if you were president, you would force people to move from their home state to another state in the West, especially for the East Coasters. No. Why would I? That's very dictatorial. Why would I do that? I wouldn't do that. People, there's two sides to freedom, like libertarian leadership. You'll think, oh, it's cool to be the hip libertarian. Yeah, do whatever you want. I'll leave you alone. But the other reason I would not do that, do you know what a pain in the ass that would be? Telling people where to move. That's what the Soviets did. And what would you like to be? The commissar of the house moving place? What do you want to babysit people that much? It's like girls like well, you want to support, like I insist on a woman to have her own finances, have her own degree, have her own job. I'm very pro female or a womanist, let's say, in that regard. Why? Because, I want a strong, independent woman. Like, no, I don't want to deal with you. Get your finances. That's your problem. I don't care what you do. Your job is not my concern. Your finances are not my concern. Have it together. You do have it together? Let's talk. But yeah, if you're a dictator, you have to control the people. And that just doesn't sound fun to me. I'd rather, do anything else. Scrub Hero, new guy, 36, $10. Cappy, what if they still come out as socialists despite you did everything you could to turn them out right? Well, I wouldn't talk to them. I'd be like, if you're a parasite, I would have explained the concept of politics. Like, okay, so you think it's okay to steal other people's money? Well, get out of here. And then I'd take the money and I'd give it to Atham or Atham's kids, or he's got a vasectomy too. All these high intelligent guys not having kids. There'd be other people who don't believe in thievery and parasitism that I'd give the money to. And I would say, no, you don't. I would have taught you don't steal. And then, okay, you're a socialist. You believe in taking other people's money. I don't care what the reason is. You took other people's money. You enslaved them to you. Get out of here. Bye. Blood would not be thicker than water in Cappy land. I kind of wondered where I screwed up, but I'd be like, nope, get out. I don't care what your teacher said. You are taking other people's money. You are lessening other people's lives. DJ Aftershock, $2. Just marry a trust funder from Lake of the Isles. They're not, dude. Lake of the Isles is going to go away. It's going to go away. It's going to be like Park Avenue. There isn't going to be anything. That's not going to be a nice neighborhood. There will be no nice neighborhoods in the Twin Cities anymore. Did I get them all? Boom, I got them all. All right. See you guys later. Toodles.